I'll do a quick weekly outlook. So yeah, essentially I wanted to wait for the markets to open because we had lots of news over the weekend. So yeah, I was anticipating that we were going to see a lot of we were going to see some opening gaps like this foolishness right here. So I was anticipating we'd get some shit like this. So wanted to wait for the markets to open. So yeah, we've had massive displacement on the daily after taking out this high into the weekly order block and breaker block, and then the small imbalance as well. So the reason I made that midweek market outlook was to say that I flipped my bias after Monday was not confirming the narrative of the week. I wanted to see price, sweep some sort of sell side and then see a reaction higher, but this daily candle closure formed a bearish OB after sweeping buy side into weekly bearish PD area. So this confirmed to me they were gonna come for this low, and then depending on the daily closure, we had these equal lows and then this low as well. So for the rest of the week, we managed to take out. We took out this low as anticipated, and then I wanted to see price use this 4-hour fair value gap to come for these lows, which is exactly what happened. I just didn't manage to catch shorts on this day because we had these equal highs, but they were SMT highs, but I just didn't like the framework. And then we had this dump, and then on Friday I didn't like the price action because of the range that we were in. But yeah, we just ranged, tapped the 4-hour fair value gap, and then we just had an absolute meltdown. So I managed to miss the expansion on DXY with the right bias, unfortunately. But yeah, taking out all the sell side. So now we've had this massive weekly candle is larger than way larger than the last 4 weeks of price action. So the weekly is massively overextended. So right now I wouldn't touch DXY. And then if you look at the economic calendar, the first major red folder that we have is FOMC on Wednesday. So from price action wise, massive displacement on the daily after expansion. We expect either retracement or consolidation. So Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday we definitely won't expect any expansion until the FOMC news drops. That would be the first news event that we can expect some sort of movement in the markets, and especially since we've just had another massive opening gap down here. I wouldn't expect any volatility for the next few days. So right now I want to see us start to accumulate, and then once FOMC drops, I'm hoping FOMC could be a manipulation, and then see if we can catch some shorts confirming the high of the week somewhere around here. So I want to see if we can form a daily imbalance here. It looks a bit shit because of how we opened up, but Euro will probably be cleaner, because if you look at Euro, we have this daily imbalance that formed. So this would be the key level. Let me move the shadow away. This would be the key level now that I'd like to see price to reaccumulate from, and then see if we can get some sort of displacement on the 1 hour, and then we can get like a new validation with a favorable risk to rewards. And yeah, that's what I'd like to see, if we can confirm the low of the week inside this imbalance. Initially I wanted to see price come back into this 4-hour fair value gap, but we didn't get that right because of this massive opening gap. So to be honest, I wouldn't doubt price coming back for this fair value gap anymore, resting inside the daily fair value gap. But yeah, this daily fair value gap would be the priority anyway. So that's what I'll be watching for now. So I want to see what Monday, Tuesday and FOMC does, and then we'll go from there and frame the weekly narrative from there. There could also be a possibility that because of how much we've displaced on Euro, we've had 300 pip displacement since Monday last week, 300 pips to the upside. So here I wouldn't doubt that we consolidate here for a minute, and maybe even form a weekly fair value gap here, and then we use that weekly fair value gap to go higher instead. But yeah, drawn equity is pretty close, so to be honest, I do think that post FOMC we can even see that expansion into these highs now, so that's what I'll be watching for. And then GU as well, same thing. I want to see a daily fair value gap form and then see if we can reaccumulate, and then wait for post FOMC to see if we can expand into these highs. And then UCAD as well, massive expansion on UCAD. We had the weekly fair value gap that price rejected off, and now we inverted this weekly fair value gap. So these lows is the obvious draw liquidity, triple equal lows, previous year low, and then this weekly low as well as the short-term draw. EG, so Euro GBP, this pair, we left equal highs here, so to be honest, I'm not too sure what this pair wants to do, to be honest. I think we might just consolidate here, but then to be honest, it does kind of look bearish to me because of the legs that we're forming on the 4 hour. Formed this breaker order block, came into the breaker order block and fair value gap, displaced lower, and now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 4 pairs of equal lows here, and now we have this fair value gap. So to be honest, I do think, I would say I'm leaning a bit more bearish here. You know, we might consolidate in the 4 hour fair value gap and then send it lower, and then we have all of these lows as well here. So you know, I'd lean more bearish on this pair than bullish, to be honest. But yeah, Euro CAD bullish, Euro GBP CAD also looks bullish. So yeah, I took a loss on this pair, partial loss. I managed to cut my position here. I did a trade breakdown on it anyway. But yeah, good trade management. I cut my position around here, and price, you know, the bias is absolutely wrong. That shit sent higher with all of these highs. So this pair looks like, I mean, now I'm not sure if we swept this high into this bearish PD array, bearish order block. So I mean, to be honest, I don't really care about this pair, so this pair can do whatever the fuck it wants. UJ, this pair was probably the best looking pair before this opening gap, but weekly buy side sweep, 3 bar swing, displacement on the daily, invert this weekly fair value gap, form the weekly order block, and we have this monthly fair value gap to draw on liquidity. So I wanted to see price use this 4 hour fair value gap to reaccumulate and then go lower from, lining up with this bearish order block from here to here. That's the bearish order block. So I wanted to see price to reaccumulate in this area and then look for sales, but to be honest, we just gap lower. So this one looks pretty gone to me, and we've already taken out these lows, which would have been my first target. So to be honest, I'll just wait for UJ to, you know, start consolidating, and then I'll wait for this daily fair value gap to look for more shorts to this monthly fair value gap. So pretty much the same thing on all pairs. I'm just waiting for this daily fair value gap post FOMC. But yeah, EJ and GJ as well. So on these pairs, I had the wrong bias last week. I wanted to see mainly GJ. I wanted to see price to go lower from this daily fair value gap, but we pushed lower in the daily open, which was here. We had a gap, tapped the bullish daily fair value gap and bullish daily order block, and then pushed higher. So for me, this is already a red flag to look for shorts, because now this is like high resistance liquidity. Even though we have these equal lows, the framework is not high probability anymore. You know, now it becomes a bit 50-50 of, you know, if price is going to reject off this bearish fair value gap, or if price going to continue higher from this bullish fair value gap. So yeah, took a loss somewhere around here, and then yeah, price just confirmed to be bullish on GJ here. You know, had this 4 hour stop run, closed above this 4 hour order block, and then this 4 hour order block was used for continuation to go higher. So I mean, you could, to be fair, you could take a swing trade here if you wanted, or yeah, swing trade if you wanted along the 4 hour order block, put your stops at this invalidation. You would have got a nice 2 hour trade. That would actually been a pretty nice move. There was another setup as well here. If you go into the 30-minute time frame, even a 15-minute time frame, same thing. We had an hourly stop run inside this 4-hour fair value gap, so stop run into a key level, and we had these highs being a draw on liquidity. So you have bias and narrative there, clear direction and price, and the key level that you want to see price to go higher from. So all you need is the entry confirmation. So once we invert this fair value gap, you can already look for longs, but here you can already long before the fair value gap, before the closing above the fair value gap, because we formed this propulsion block, right? So you can already catch an entry somewhere at this candle, and then you can place your stops at the propulsion block low and then TP at this high. So I managed to miss the setup because I wasn't watching this pair, I wasn't watching GJ, but this was a really clean setup. And then we confirmed this hourly order block on the hourly time frame as well, which was used to send price higher. So yeah, this would have been a clean intraday setup. So GJ pretty clean this week, had the wrong bias. So yeah, now to be honest, I'm kind of praying for this now. Initially I wanted to see, because on the weekly time frame we saw the previous week high and then closed back inside the range, so this bias is technically still not invalidated this idea, because now we had 1 2 3 4, we had 4 equal lows, 4 stacks of equal lows now. So, and now if we push back higher, then we have 5 now. So this so now this becomes a massive draw on liquidity now, because we just have this large trend line liquidity that's building up. So initially I wanted to see price come into this 4-hour fair value gap, but we dumped lower. But to be honest, I still wouldn't put it aside for price to do that. If we can come back into this area and then, you know, get like a bearish AMD, and then get this type of setup, wait for the high of the week to form here, and then TP around here, that would be my game plan for GJ. Same thing with EJ as well. We have these equal lows. We have these weekly equal lows now after this previous week's candle closure. So that would be my draw on liquidities. And the 4-hour time frame, after this, you know, deviation of the range highs, displacement, I want to see price come back into this fair value gap and then see if we can get a confirmation here to go short. So same thing as well, you know, this is what I'd be waiting for. See if we can get like a 2-hour setups from somewhere here. Bearish AMD, daily fair value gap potentially as well. That would be the ideal setup that I would be waiting for. So yeah, and then I have another exotic pair in mind. Euro odd, GBP odd, bearish daily order flow. You know, running daily highs, selling off, tapping into bearish PD arrays, daily order block. Same thing here, stop run, selling off, daily fair value gap, stop run, selling off, stop run again, selling off. So there's a clear bearish order flow here. Now we have this daily fair value gap. So, you know, I'd like to see price to, you know, come back into here and then see if we can get confirmation to go short here. But to be honest, these pairs move pretty dog shit, so I wouldn't, you know, this wouldn't be on my priority list. But the bias is pretty obvious here, and then we have the narrative here to anticipate where price can sell off from. So daily fair value gap here, equal lows. So this is also on my watch list, if we can get a clean framework to short here. But yeah, so I see massive, very overextended now, but we took the draw on liquidity, so this one I'm not interested in. We swept these lows, pushed higher, came into this bearish order block and imbalance, and then sold off. So this one I'm not interested anymore. Gold as well, I'm not interested anymore. We've hit the 5k mark, and we're just gapping higher every week. We're just gapping higher. So this one, unless it's like an intraday play like this one that I managed to catch on Friday, that I wouldn't. This one I'm not gonna be too interested in, to be honest. 1 2 3 4 5, we've got 6 expansion candles to the upside, and if you look at every weekly candle as well, no wick, no wick, no wick, is going to be the fourth week with no wick to the downside and just ripping straight higher. So you know, it gets to the point where it's not high probability to keep longing, because like how high is this going to keep going before a proper daily retracement? So yeah, unless you're trading this intraday, this one, unless you start getting hourly stop runs into key levels, this one is just, there's the framework is not the highest probability. But yeah, to be honest, the price could come back into this low, which would form the daily fair value gap here. This would be my ideal play here. Then I would that would be a dream play. I would love to get long on gold after that then. But yeah, same with NQ daily consolidation. We've had a run of this low, and then we had this displacement candle, and then we closed above this opening gap. For me, and luckily I waited for the markets to open, because it's done exactly what I wanted. So I wanted to see price to this is like a this is like an AMD to me. So we're ranging, we set the range high, so I wanted to see price come for the range lows here, and then from the range lows we have this fair value gap and order block. I want to see if we can get a continuation long into these highs now. So that's my drawn liquidity for NQ. That's what I'm waiting for now. I'm not sure if we'll get longs here, because we just massively dump. So I know NQ likes to just reverse here, so on a lower time frame this is probably a bit age to try to catch longs on. So I think it's going to be hard to get a favorable risk to reward unless you just towel soup this, and then even here the risk to reward is not favorable. So this one is probably a skip, but I'm anticipating higher after running this low into this fair value gap and order block. So if there's a setup, there's a setup. If there isn't, then yeah, I don't really care, to be honest. And then now Bitcoin is the last one that I'm watching for. This is the main one that I'm watching. So I mentioned that I managed to get swing short from up here. Yeah, so this is my position. I want to see price sweep this high, the previous week high, into this weekly fair value gap and a small daily imbalance, and then I took a swing short from here, anticipating that we don't go higher than this monthly fair value gap. So that was my idea, and right now this shit is absolutely cooking. So right now I've extended my TP to this low, because this low forms the yearly fair value gap, which is my drawn liquidity, and on a monthly low, this monthly low as well here being the, you know, internal low after taking out this external high. So I'm anticipating price to come forward this low next, and I basically top ticked it. So there's no way price, if price, you know, comes and gives even a sharp retracement back to the range, there's no way that it comes from my you know, my break even here. So this should just continue lower here, maybe break the low, accumulate, and then manipulate into like a daily fair value gap, for example, and then continue lower. So yeah, on a weekly time frame as well, this looks really good, because we, you know, accumulated, manipulated, and then we had this large displacement candle on a daily, basically no wick right now, with the daily closure in 1 hour. So yeah, form this bearish order block as well. On a daily we had this breaker and order block and fair value gap, and we came into it and then we saw the sell off. So if you look at the 4 hour time frame, this now looks like a market maker sell model, you know, small money reversal, and we've confirmed the lowest sell here. And to be honest, this one I got really unlucky, because I had a limit, had this 4 hour fair value gap inside of the daily fair value gap and breaker, and I literally got missed by the smallest amount of pips. Like, come on, look at that. That's outrageous. But yeah, I got my limit got missed here. We just swept the high in the daily fair value gap and sold off. So now, in my opinion, because of how deep inside of the range we are, it wouldn't make sense for price to come above here now. And after this 4 hour closure and this daily candle closure, it wouldn't make sense to sweep these lows and then come for this high and then come lower again. I mean, it can happen, but I think the possibilities are much less likely, And I think the most realistic thing right now is that we now have this bearish propulsion block, and then we might form a daily imbalance depending on Monday's close. I want to see if price can use that to go lower, and we have this 4-hour fair value gap as well. So I don't want to see price lose the 4-hour fair value gap, if I'm honest, because we've had accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. So if we're bearish, price accumulate and then manipulate and then sell off from here. So we shouldn't sweep these lows and then come for these highs again. That wouldn't be bullish, but that would not be an ideal bearish scenario. This would be the most likely scenario right here. Like, this would be the second leg confirmation, and then you expect this invalidation to stay intact. So yeah, that's my game plan. Bearish propulsion block, bearish fair value gap potentially, and then see if we can sell off into all of these lows, and then this low is the next draw on liquidity. So yeah, ETH as well, same thing as well on ETH. Didn't tap into this daily fair value gap with SMT, but yeah, this one should just melt into these lows here, and then depending on how we react to this low, we have this low as well as the next draw on liquidity. But yeah, we have this bullish order block, so this could be some sort of resistance. We can see some sort of retracement from here potentially. But yeah, once you sweep these lows, I would expect continuation into the 2.1k next, and then Bitcoin would be 75k, 74.4k. So yeah, that's my plan for Bitcoin. See if we can form the higher of the week inside of this proportion block and fair value gap, and then 8k and 75k next for Bitcoin.